is there anywhere in their statutes and their rules that says that they have to bring a bond with a warrant? In other words, he was asking where you got that information from.
Where I got it from is it's not a complete warrant. I mean, it's just to have a warrant. It has to. Well, it doesn't have to have a bond. Like I said, you can go out there and go get a warrant. I'm sure in statute they could do it without a bond because it's considered just protocol for these people that they're all honorable sirs. They're all honorable to each other. But like I said, when Jessie went to go make a claim and then she was going to sue them for $1 billion, I said, do you realize in common law, the other side might ask you to put up $1 billion bond to have your claim heard? See, because when you file a complaint, you're all acting as pro se, you're all acting as attorneys. Attorneys don't have to put up bonds to sue each other. So they all say, well, business will be concluded at 5 o'clock. And whether your client can pay for the money or not, we're going to take it out of the attorney's fund or the attorney's, whatever account that he's got with the court, and then he gets squared up with his client. But all business with the court is going to be done at 5 o'clock. Everybody's going to be paid off by 5 o'clock. And it's either going to come out of like the attorney's bond, or the attorney's going to have to settle it up with the court. Somehow some sort of a rolling account with the court. But when it comes to common law, you say, oh, you got a warrant there? Oh, great. You know what? You're going to evoke the common law. You're going to say, oh, good, you got a warrant? Good, I'd like to see the bond that goes with that warrant because I'm not an honorable sir. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not part of your court system. I'm outside of your jurisdiction. So if you want to come into my kingdom, if you want to come over the Canadian border, if you want to come into Mexico, if you want to come into my country, you're going to have to do it with a bond. That's great that your warrants work in the United States without a bond attached, but they don't work in my land. They don't work in my country. They don't work in my jurisdiction. If you'd like to come on to my land, if you'd like to come into my nation, to my state, into my country, well, then you're going to need a bond. I'm not going to let you just walk in here like you own the place. If you think this is within your court's jurisdiction, you're sadly mistaken. It's not. This is in my court's jurisdiction. This is my land. This is my border. This is my venue. So if you want to enter here, you're going to have to need a bond attached. So you just demanded the bonds attached. That's common law. That has nothing to do with statutes. Statutes, you ain't going to find it in there because it's all... like I said, attorney, you don't see anything that an attorney says, well, you're going to sue R.J. Reynolds for $10 trillion. Well, you're going to need a $10 trillion bond. They don't do that with each other. But in common law, oh, yeah, you better believe if somebody sues you in common law, you could demand a bond. If I want to sue Greg in common law, and I'm suing Greg for $1 million, Greg could say, hey, you know what, Carl, I'll answer you once you put up $1 million bond. Because when I prove that you filed a false claim against me, Carl, I'm going to take that bond. What you wanted from me, I'm going to demand from you. Eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Whatever you wanted from me, you bear false witness on me as your neighbor, I'm going to demand equal and fair just compensation. So you're going to put up a bond. And the magistrate, the man in the black robe, the court clerk will make you post a bond before they will move a claim against you, before you move your claim against another man. They will absolutely, if the other side requires it, requests it. Well, requires it. They're going to say, that's what you got to do before we'll process your claim against the other man, before we have the other man summons and subpoena to appeal.
That was pretty much my question, and yeah, it was. I was speaking with a retired constable today, and when I mentioned to him the issue of having the bond attached to the warrant, he was like, "Well, we've never been told that," and I was like, "Well, kind of my common sense tells me that if you were going to serve a warrant on someone, and say, for instance, you had to kick in their door or you shot their $5,000 pit bull or whatever, you killed one of their prized game chickens, where's the recourse for the person you serve the warrant on? I mean, how do you not have some kind of, protection, for
right.
maybe even arresting the wrong person,
right.
or individual or whatever you are?
Does that make kind of sense? Like I said, if like, say, China was shipping goods into this country, like baby formula, that maybe they have to put up $1 billion bond just in case the baby formula kills a whole bunch of kids, that China, could say, well, what are you going to do, drop a nuclear bomb on us to get the money
right.
back?
No, that makes sense.
So does it understand when you cross into somebody else's jurisdiction, under somebody else's, land, why you could demand a bond?
Well, and this could very well be the same reason why some lawyers who claim to be debt collectors are not required to file a bond with the state as debt collectors.
There you go. Because they probably figured that you're subject to the state. If you're subject to the state, you're a citizen of the state, then
you're a taxpayer.
well, not so much a taxpayer, but if you're subject to the state, if you're their child, and they get a license from the parent, and they're a child because they're a fictional entity that was created by the state, and then you're a fictional entity that was created by the state, you guys could, work with each other. They don't have to be bonded because they're not hurting the man, they're hurting the person.
Right, the fictional entity.
Right.
Daddy gives you permission to beat up your sister.
Right.